Shalom. This is Rabbi Saacks coming to you from the Chai Center, and welcome to the Chai Academy. We are in the middle of a course, if you will, on discussing various human frailties, right? So we've discussed appreciation. Some of us have a hard time with it, gratitude, etc. Discussed depression, anxiety, and so today we're going to talk a little bit about the Jewish view on confidence. So we know the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, weaves an incredible tale and about the Genesis and the tribes and the birth of the Jewish nation and Moses. Good afternoon, Eileen. So we know that, but what we also have to know is that the Torah, these stories are not just stories. These stories are deep, intricate, complex lessons on multiple levels, and it teaches us incredible things. So today's lesson is on confidence. Let's start with a fascinating topic. We're all familiar with person. We're all familiar with Noah and the flood, right? So there was this, God was unhappy with the immorality of humankind, and he said, I'm going to destroy the world. But because Noah was not immoral, I'm going to save Noah. So God told Noah to build an ark. God spoke to Noah. Right? When was the last time God spoke to you directly? Noah, I guess, was considered a prophet, and God spoke to him, and Noah went about his business and created an ark. And when people came to him, they said, what are you doing? Because I'm building an ark. There's going to be a flood, and people are going to die. Repent, right? Don't be. Hey, Mike, don't be in denial. It's happening. God is destroying the world. So when people came to him, he built this ark, incredible ark that housed the animals, etc. The Torah tells us that it started to rain. It started to rain heavily. Then the next verse, God says to Noah, go into the ark. So Rashi says, if it starts to rain, why did you need God to tell him to go to the ark? So Rashi says, because Noah was mikatna amuna. He had very low faith. He had a little. He didn't have too much faith. Whatever that means, either he didn't think it was going to happen, he was a doubting Thomas, or he didn't think he's worthy of being saved. Not sure. But because he lacked self-confidence or he lacked faith, God told him, get into the ark. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, the Berdichev Rav, says that Noah did not believe in himself. He didn't feel, why should I be saved? Right? What am I so special? Who am I? What am I? So it's okay to be humble, and it's okay to not want to be the center of the party, and to be flamboyant and vocal, etc. But you can't be stupid because of lack of confidence. So Rashi says that he lacked in faith. Now, we don't know how he lacked in faith. I mean, come on. They spoke to God directly. So that's why the Berdichev says, no, it wasn't that he had small in faith with regards to God. He was small in faith with regards to himself. And therefore, God had to push him and say, get to the ark. So there's one of the first lessons of self-confidence. Noah didn't have it. Now, why didn't Noah have it? Why doesn't anybody who lacks self-confidence, and we all lack self-confidence at one time or another, why? What is the reason? And the answer is probably childhood, right? Whether it was our mother, our father, our grandparent, or whether it was our teacher, our rabbi, something happened, and we're trapped. We have a certain, and we cannot get beyond it, and therefore we are imprisoned because of it. Right? We all know, especially in the Jewish household, right? You go to work and you're in a competitive business and you have sales, etc. And then you don't do too well. You're feeling low about yourself, and then you come home, and there's your Jewish spouse, right? And right, you feel even worse. You feel even worse because you want to provide, right? So our confidence gets shattered many a time. The trick is to be able to climb out of it. We find another story with Abraham and Lot. So Lot was Abraham's nephew, and Lot left Abraham. Abraham was old school. He was an old man. He was studying the Talmud, and he was, boring as can be. And Lot went down to Sodom. And we know the famous story. God sent angels to overturn Sodom and Gomorrah, destroy it completely with hot sulfur coming down from heaven. And the angels came to save Lot because he was the nephew of Abraham. And the Torah tells us that Lot, when sulfur started to fall on Sodom and Gomorrah, it says, and the angel said, "Come on." The Torah tells us these words, and he hesitated. He hesitated. Now, we can understand somewhat why he hesitated. I mean, he didn't want to go back to Abraham. Abraham is old school, old-fashioned, antiquated, old ideas, right? He was connected to Sodom. We know he was a chief justice. He had a prominent position in Sodom. So why leave it? Vayismamo, right? He didn't want to go back, and finally, they had to drag him out. They had to drag him, and they told him, "If you don't leave, you will die." And he didn't want to leave. He said, "What am I going to do? How can I leave Sodom? This is my place. This is start life anew. What am I going to do? I get fired from this job. How am I going to somewhere else?" They literally had to drag him because he wasn't confident to leave. He had such a cushy position there. They literally had to grab him by his shirt, and he went to his in-laws. They didn't want to come. His wife came, but his wife looked back. His wife basically could not leave. She looked back. They said, "Don't look back. You just got to look forward from here on in. You can't look back. Sodom is destroyed." And she looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. You know what a pillar of salt means? She became bitter. She couldn't function. At least Lot, with all his issues, was able to function. He had angels help him. When we're in a funk, when we have self-confidence, we need to reach out to others to mentor us. Call them angels. And we learn from Lot's wife not to look back and dwell in the past, because if you dwell in the past, you're going to get stuck. God gave us eyes in the front of our head to teach us to look forward. Our neck moves, but not fully backwards. We got to learn a little bit from what's behind us, but we cannot constantly look back. So Lot was dragged out because he had people drag him out, whereas Lot's wife just couldn't get beyond it. So we're in a funk. How do we get out of it? And we have low self-confidence. I don't want to start new. I don't want to do this. We need to ask other people for help. There's a fascinating, just a one-liner in the Talmud where it talks about, in the Talmud, it talks about how a prisoner, he may be a master at breaking people out of prison, but he can't break himself out. While he's on the outside, he is he is either a glib salesman, or he manages from the outside to get of the prison and devise a plan to set the prisoner free. But while you're imprisoned, it's much harder. So when a person is down, or they lack self-confidence, or whatever it is, they're too subjective. They can't get themselves out. Therefore, you need others to help you. And that's what Noah did. Noah needed a kick in the tush. God said, get in. Lot needed a drag from the angels, because otherwise he never would have left. How can I leave? By the way, procrastination is a part of confidence. If we're fully confident and rip-roaring ready to go, you won't procrastinate as much. You procrastinate because of your kratz is the Yiddish word, is because you lack self-confidence. Henry Ford, who I'm loath to repeat his teachings, he was such an anti-Semite, but Henry Ford said that you can be something. You can be who you want to be, right? You can be, or you can't be. And they're both right. He says it depends on you. You can do it if you want to, or you can say I can't do it if you want to. He said both. You can be both. They once asked a pessimist, what would the optimist say? And what would the pessimist say about a certain project or about life? So the pessimist says, the optimist would say it can't get any worse, and the pessimist would say, oh, it can get a lot worse. Right? So it can, so we have to be careful that we don't fall into this self-confidence trap where we are simply stuck. Lot was stuck. Noah was stuck. We have to make sure we're not stuck. They tell a story or joke about a camel. A baby camel turned to its mother and said to its mother, Mom, why do we have such odd feet, 3-pronged hoof? It's so weird, and we're the only ones like it. So the mother said, you know why we have these toes? What we have is because we can walk hundreds, if not thousands of miles in the desert. And we can walk, and it's our toes that allow us to give us balance. And the three-pronged toes makes us the best sand travelers. The kid says, okay. Then the kid camel asked, he says, why do we have these long eyelashes? So the mother camel said, to protect us from the sand. They may look odd, but a sandstorm, they come in tremendous use. The kid camel said, Mom, why do we have humps? Why can't we have a normal back? So the mama camel said, it's because we hoard water. Because when we travel in the desert, we don't know. And we can go weeks without water because we've stored water. That's why we have these hoofs. That's why we have these long eyelashes, and that's why we have these strange humps. The camel turned to Mom and said, Mom, I have one more question. I get it that you need hooves for the sand. I get it to travel in the desert. I get it that you need eyelashes to combat the sandstorms. And I get it you need hump for the water in the desert. But why do we need them when we're in the Bronx Zoo? This joke, this anecdote is really all about us. We have everything, so much to offer, so much to give. We have so many qualities. We have so much talent in this, that, or the other. Each one of us. But the problem is we're in our cage. We're in the Bronx Zoo. We're stuck. We're stuck, and we need to develop tools. So once again, the one tool is have people help you. The second tool is you have to become a mantra that you're not going to be defined by your past. You're not going to be defined by others' definition or of you. You are going to define yourself in a healthy way. And we'll conclude here, and we will pick it up tomorrow. The reason why we're doing a little bit of a shorter class is because I was advised perhaps a shorter class is better. Less is more, so to speak. You can see any of our classes at thechaicenter.com/academy. Please feel free to share. God bless and be well.